Hello friends, I am Mrs. Pushpalata R Shinde, lecturer of English from Aryan College of Arts, Commerce and Science, Camp, Pune. Today we are going to learn a very interesting topic, figures of speech. Maybe already you have learned this. Just have a once again look up for this topic. Language can be used in two ways, literally and figuratively. Literal language is direct and uses the real definition and meaning of words and phrases. But when we talk figuratively, the meaning of any word phrase will depend on the context in which they are used. A figure of speech relies on such figurative language and rhetoric. When using figures of speech, the words will diverge from their literal meaning to give a more stylized and specialized meaning to these words. Let us take, for example, the phrase fast like lightning. This phrase merely implies great speed. It does not mean literally as fast as lightning. Example, on hearing the school bell, the kids ran out of the class as fast as lightning. So we can use lots of figures of speech in our speech. Most of the times the poets and authors has been used figures of speech in their writing. It makes our speech or writing more ornamental, more attractive. So these are the common, otherwise the very few types we are going to discuss here: simile, metaphor, personification, alliteration, onomatopoeia, hyperbole, and idioms. First, we'll discuss about simile. A simile is a figure of speech that uses comparison. In a simile, we use two specific words like and as to compare two unlikely things that actually have nothing in common. This is done to bring out the dramatic nature of the prose and evoke vivid images and comparisons. It is one of the most common forms of a figure of speech and is used in everything from day to day talk to poems. So we'll see the very interesting examples of the similes. Busy as a bee means a person is as busy as bee. Sparkle like diamonds. A student is sparkling in the class like a diamond. Hungry as a bear. A fat boy is as hungry as a bear. Flat as a pancake. So pancake is very flat. Hard as a rock. So some men are as hard as a rock. Next figure of speech, metaphor. A metaphor and a simile are quite similar actually. A metaphor also uses compares to things that are in no way similar. It does so to bring out the symbolism. A metaphor is a word or phrase used to show its similarity to another thing. It helps to explain an idea, but if you take a metaphor at its literal meaning, it will sound absurd. So see, it will sound absurd means it is a bilingual meaning is there. An example of metaphor is Alex is a chicken. Literally, this sounds so very absurd, but this is a metaphor which suggests that Alex is a coward or frightened. It compares or implies that Alex is a chicken to bring out the symbolism. Some other examples are lover is a battlefield. All the world's a stage that technology is dinosaur. So we'll see some also interesting examples of the metaphors. The sun was a gleaming pearl. So here there is a comparison in between the sun and the ball, but just see it quietly that there is a no word like like, as. Next, my baby brother is a cute little teddy bear. So my baby brother is very cute as a little teddy bear, but as word is not used there. My sister's memory is a camera that remembers everything we see. So the sister's memory is as fast as the camera. The car seat is fluffy clouds. So here there is a comparison between the clouds and the car seat. The custard is happiness in a bowl. So there is a comparison in between the bowl and the custard. So we can also use metaphor and simile in our speech. Next, very interesting figure of speech, personification. Another very interesting figure of speech is personification. In this, we personify or represent a non human entity as human. We give an inanimate object or an intangible idea of some human qualities such as emotions or gestures or even speech. This is done to portray the object as alive and help the listener or reader paint a vivid picture. Again, if you take the words at their literal meaning, they will sound absurd. The wind howled as the storm grew stronger. Here we have taken an object, the wind, and personified it as a living thing by claiming it howled. Other such examples could be time ran away from him, the boat danced in a puddle, the car died in the middle of the road. So these are very interesting examples. So one more example I have given here. The flame of the candle danced in the dark. So the movement of candle is personified that she is dancing in the darkness. Also we have very interesting examples in our film that when Shah Rukh Khan is talking with his horse. So is that horse is talking? But personification is used there. Some imaginary ideas are used there. Next, alliteration. In alliteration, words begin with the same sound or are placed together. Although alliteration often involves repetition of letters most importantly. It is repetition of sound. Example, it is Philip's feet. Alliteration is used here because the sounds are same. Example, cheerful cough. It might begin with the same letters but sounds are not same. So alliteration is not used in this example. So it is very important to keep in mind that while using alliteration there must be repetition of sound. There should not be only repetition of the letters or the words. So one very interesting and nice example here. She sells seashells by the seashore. Here the sound so and sure is repeated again and again. Onomatopoeia. It is also very interesting and most of the times we use this figure of speech in our speech. Onomatopoeia is a figure of speech in which words evoke the actual sound of the thing they refer to or describe. The boom of a firework exploding, the tick-tock of a clock, and the ding-dong of a doorbell are the examples of onomatopoeia. Onomatopoeia can use real words, made up words, or just letters used to represent raw words as so, represent someone sleeping or snoring. Advertising, branding, and slogans often use onomatopoeia, snap, crackle, pop. So, I have given one interesting example of the onomatopoeia. The noisy house, the egg goes crack, the yolk goes splat, the car goes boom, the plane goes zoom, the gas goes hiss, the dryer goes whiz. Here we get the noise of the egg, yolk, car, plane, gas, dryer. Also in our movies, the onomatopoeia used again and again that tip tip barsa pani. So tip tip is the sound of the water. Then dham dham dhol baje. So dham dham by this word onomatopoeia has been used there. Hyperbole. It is also very interesting example, figure of speech. Hyperbole is when you use language to exaggerate what you mean or emphasize a point. It's often used to make something sound much bigger and better than it actually is, or to make something sound much more dramatic. Hyperbole is a figure of speech. For example, there is enough food in the cupboard to feed an entire army. In this example, the speaker doesn't literally mean that there is enough food in the cupboard to feed the hundreds of people in the army. Instead, The speaker is using hyperbole to exaggerate the amount of food that they have. Hyperbole can also be used to make something sound much worse than it actually is. For example, this is the worst book in the world. The speaker doesn't literally mean that the book is the worst book ever written, but is using hyperbole to be dramatic and emphasize their opinion. Very interesting example is there. I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. Can that person eat a horse? But he is using hyperbole in his speech. Idioms. An idiom is a common phrase with a figurative meaning. Idioms are different from other figures of speech in that their figurative meaning are mostly known within a particular language, culture, or group of a people. In fact, the English language alone has about 25,000 idioms. Some example include it's raining cats and dogs, when it is raining hard, or break a leg, when wishing someone good luck. Example, the sentence using an idiom to make it more interesting. There is a supermarket and pharmacy in the mall, so if you go there, we can kill two birds with one stone. The idiom is a common way of saying that two tasks can be completed in the same amount of time or same place. So, in our day to day life, we use a lots of idioms in our speech, in our communication. So, friends, maybe now I can hope that you understand these some types of figures of speech. If we use these figures of speech in our language, your speech will be more attractive and you will love to like that one. So most of the students don't like to read poem, don't like to study poems, but if you study the figure of speech, if you know the meaning of the figure of speech, if you enjoy this interesting figure of speech, then you can enjoy your syllabus, you can enjoy your poems. Thank you very much.